Hello everyone. So today we'll be learning about web servers. So what is a web server? Uh, Web servers, they are programs that provide documents to the requesting browsers. When browsers running on a computer request for a documents, the servers documents or program, it can be anything, the server send them back. And servers are called slave programs because they act only when requests are made to them by browsers running on a computers. Web server is a collection of websites. The primary function of a web server is to store, process, and deliver web pages to the client. The communication between client and the server takes place using Hypertext Transfer Protocol (HTTP). Pages are delivered mostly are HTML documents, which includes images, style, sheets, and scripts as well. Basically, the communication between server and the client computer take place using HTTP. Okay, and when a request is made, pages are delivered in a HTML format, a HTML document which might or which might not include images, style, sheets, scripts. It varies from site to site. Okay, the basic operations which happen between a web server and a client is when a client or a browser opens a network connection to a web server, and first step is they opens a network connection to a web server. Second step is they send information request and some possible data to the server. Some possible data, as in if we are requesting for a book PDF, then we'll be writing the name of the book. Sometimes we may add the author's name as well, like it's an extra data to describe the request which we asked to the server. Okay, and the third step is they receive information from the server. Fourth, they closes the connection. Okay, it's very simple. I break down the whole steps into smaller steps so that you can understand. The web browsers initiated network communication with server by sending them URLs. Earlier I said they communicate between each other using HTTP, right? So URL is in the HTTP. Okay, it is not something separate, something totally different. Instead, HTTP contains URL. Okay, and URL can be either of the both written here. It can be either an address of the data file stored on a server that needs to be sent to the client, or it can be a program stored on the server that the client wants, and it needs to be executed, and the output also need to be returned back to the client. The primary task of a web server is to monitor a communication port on its host machine, accept HTTP commands. Okay, when a connection is opened, they accept HTTP commands through the port, and they perform the operation specified on those commands. When they receive HTTP command, they only perform the operations specified in the HTTP commands, and the HTTP commands include URL, as I said earlier. Okay, a URL which includes the specification of the host server machine. A URL received is translated. When they receive a URL, they just translate the whole thing, and it can be a file name or a program name which needs to be sent to the client. Okay, the file structure of a web server has two main directory. The first one is document root. The second one is server root. What is a document root? It shows the web documents to which the server has direct access and normally serves it to the client. And the second one, server root. So it stores the server and it supports software. All the control panel of software for the working of the software is stored in the server root. Okay, meaning, for example, in our PC, when we are installing an application, think of a programming application which we use for coding. Okay, so normally we don't see the software files which is needed for the working of the application. We don't see it normally because that is stored in a separate place and we don't normally access it as well, only when we need for emergencies. So yeah, that's how it is. Let's see an example so that you can understand it better. Here we are talking about a document. So that document is stored in the path called admin/web directory. Okay. So the address of the top flowers becomes admin/web/top flowers. Okay. When a client requests for a file with the URL called http://www.tunias.com/petunia.html. Here, the server will cause it to search for the file called admin/web/topflowers/petunia.html. The address which is shown here in the bottom, that address is not normally shown to the client. Okay, this is called a server root, and yeah, that's how it is. Many servers allow part of a servable document collection to be stored outside the directory of the document root, as in some documents which can be did we talk about severable documents? No, right? So what is a severable documents? Severable documents means documents which can be separated. Even if that document is separated, it doesn't cause any problem, but we can still access it. Okay, like that. The secondary areas from which the document can be served are called virtual documents tree. Here, they are talking about that some documents we can separately and stored outside the main directory. They are called the secondary area. Okay, they're calling secondary area from which the documents can be served are called virtual document trees. Sometimes files with different type of content such as images are stored outside the document root. Sometimes for a HTTP file, the image file will be stored in a separate folder. So it's like that. Many servers can support more than one website on a computer, thus reducing the cost of each site and making their maintenance more convenient. Such secondary hosts are called virtual hosts. Some servers can serve documents that are in the document root of another machine on the web. They are called proxy servers. Okay, let's explain the whole thing. Think of there are two computers. My computer in which I'm using is called C computer, and there's another computer called B computer, and the file which I need is on the B computer, but I can access the files on the document root of the B computer from my C computer on the web. So the server, they are called in the web, we are only able to access it through the web, right? So they are called proxy servers. The most commonly used web servers are Apache, which is running on a Linux, and Microsoft's IIS, which is running on Windows. Okay, you have to remember this, and if you need a more detail on Apache or Microsoft IIS, Let me know in the comment section. Okay, so that's the end of our class. Thank you for watching. Bye.